Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another steamy night here in Virginia. Yep, there is no way that I am straightening this hair because it would just all over again. So we're going to talk a little bit, or listen a little bit, I guess, to a couple of stories about, hey Peggy, about dementia and seniors and helping our elders, of which I hope to someday, but not too soon, be one. The first one is called Shining a Light on Dementia. 3 months ago, and this is from 2018, September 2018, so you're gonna have to do some math from then to now. But 3 months ago, I got a pair of wake-up calls. The first was literal. Our favorite mentor in the chess program I run, who is 80, rang me up at dawn with a wild, rambling tale about fearing an imaginary eviction notice, being late for church services, it was Tuesday, and a dire need for low-fat milk and a snack. Some of my neighbors in Norfolk are familiar with him and the fact that he has for the past 2 years been walking to a Colley Avenue grocery store in the dark via the middle of Hampton Boulevard. Last time I stopped to pick him up during his walk, he couldn't recall the day of the week. After 10 years of helping in the chess program, he couldn't remember who I was. A few weeks ago, he was placed in an elder care home. Shortly before that, my mom, age 86, who lives in New Jersey, spiraled into severe memory loss and a massive personality change. Seemingly overnight, she changed from needing to reach for the right word and occasionally telling the same story twice in one conversation to full-blown dementia. Her bills had mounted, leaving her without electricity, heat, phone service, or car, or homeowner's insurance. Yes, she still drives, and yes, that is a huge issue right now. Also, what little food was in her pantry was stale. We learned all this because our eldest son had gone to stay with Mom while he looked for an apartment in New York City. He stepped up to become her driver, appointment maker, personal shopper, and emotional whipping boy. Aging can be mean-spirited, but the onset of dementia is cruel. It's like all the mood swings, anxiety, and paranoia of puberty without the benefits of youth. I haven't been up north to visit my mother for too long because time and finances never seem to permit the trip. Phone calls and FaceTime seem to suffice. Despite speaking with my mother on the phone multiple times a day, she still had me thinking she was fine. Technology is not a substitute for being there. It took a prolonged visit from her grandson to shed light on the situation. That's why Grandparents' Day matters so much and why we need to do more than send a card or make a call. We need to go and hold a hand, share a meal, listen to a retold story a few more times. Also, we need to check and see if the fridge and the cupboards are stocked with the right food. The good news is that now my mother is on an antidepressant and has completely restored her sunny disposition. Sadly, the trade-off is a sharper decline in her memory function. However, I have a plan. Gamma lights for both of us. We're doing light therapy together while we're on the phone. So now that daily phone call might help us both stave off dementia. Briefly, gamma light therapy has helped my mom and helped me. They are these little fairy lights. They're beautiful. They're LEDs. You can get them for about $23 online. And they're set with a little device that makes the lights pulse at a certain number of megahertz, 40 megahertz to be exact. You can barely tell that there's a slight flicker. It kind of, for the first few moments that you're looking at it, bothers your eyes a little. You get that kind of feeling like everything's fuzzy until your eyes adjust to the flicker of the lights, and then you don't really perceive the flicker of the lights anymore. I heard about it on NPR and I ordered them for her. There's also an auditory device that just gives off a hum in the background. Both of those help to clear the plaque that builds up on your brain, because over time your brain and your body stops being able to dispose of the plaque that builds up on your brain. Sort of like every day we brush our teeth so the plaque doesn't build up. Well, plaque builds up on your brain. And when your bloodstream slows down and you're less active, that doesn't happen as much. It starts to build up, and the gamma light therapy helps every session to get rid of almost 50% of the plaque on her brain. I started using it and started to remember people's names and phone numbers, so it's not a bad thing. So here's another story that's very recent. I wrote it at the start of COVID-19. This is a follow-up to the piece that I did about the same group of people who saved Sally Hennessy from post-Hurricane Maria in San Juan. So this is an SOS for our seniors. SOS, save our seniors. COVID-19 can kill my mom without ever getting into her body. It can starve her. There's a plan to save her and a whole lot of seniors and others struggling to get food plus supplies while housebound or self-quarantined. The issue is that the plan isn't gaining attention fast enough. Let's change that right now. If the virus is what's taking us all down, then we need to go viral in defense by spreading the word of this plan to governors of every state and the White House. Let's take a look what happened to my elderly mother as a canary in the COVID-19 mine. I live in Norfolk, Virginia. My mom, fiercely independent at age 89, living alone in New Jersey. At the onset of the pandemic, she was abandoned by her live-in caregiver, ran out of food, and when the Instacart app crashed, she rationed and went hungry for 3 days while Instacart raced to meet demand. In this rare instance of a pandemic, restaurants were either closed or their delivery services were overwhelmed. I called everyone, her neighbors, police, senior services, social services, and emergency management. I found out that there was no plan in place to get food to homebound seniors in an emergency. All her neighbors are new and no relatives live nearby. There were no Meals on Wheels in existence. That's an old program that didn't get renewed in her area of New Jersey. If I make the 7-hour drive each way with multiple rest stops and gas stops for exposure risks around lockdown lines and the National Guard and drive her here, I break her bubble and infect her. Also, I'm a diabetic at risk myself. When help finally arrived and she rushed to open the door, she was too weak from not eating and she fainted. As a journalist with 30 plus years of experience, I went all in looking for a way to SOS, save our seniors, and others who are in dire straits from running out of food in isolation during the pandemic. I found the man with the plan, and now we need to bring it to the attention of anyone in government who will listen. The man with the plan is Scott Lewis at Disaster Solutions in West Palm Beach in Florida. And he gave me an insider's look at a system being proposed by his small company named Disaster Solutions that really needs to get in front of state and federal decision makers. I believe this plan can unite official sources with private individuals and small companies currently trying to stem the tide unofficially via a valiant but heretofore uncoordinated effort of volunteerism and food donation/delivery to millions of homebound seniors. Scott Lewis is a credentialed incident commander. I know and trust Scott because he's also a key part of the nonprofit Eagle's Wings Foundation. EWF in Palm Beach, which has responded to catastrophic disasters since 1999, with him as one of the team leaders. I called Scott because after Hurricane Maria, he helped me get my best friend's 80-year-old mother, Sally Hennessy, a carcinoid cancer patient, on oxygen running out of resources and medication out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, when all other agencies were too swamped to help. I am not saying anything negative about our nation's incredible first responders or agencies. They all deserve our full respect and support. All I'm saying is that sometimes they need backup, and now is the time to call in this type of amazing resource, which is scalable and can be replicated across the nation. His company has an all-hazards response team with extensive experience in the most catastrophic natural and man-made disasters in modern history, with its focus on supporting the homebound, vulnerable population. They have data analysis and collection. He formed it after Katrina, when he led a team which served 9,000 homebound per day, 126,000 in just 14 days. He combined 900 military responders with civilian responders in a way never done before for mass support and care. And here's his plan. Start in South Florida. For the COVID-19 crisis, I took a look at the mass care operations they're proposing. Scott explained, this is bulk food. Nobody's preparing meals. So we're not dealing with more contamination issues. There would be health and safety officers on each large base where an entire task force is maintaining guidelines where crews are separated from each other as they box food, load the trucks, provide security, plus data collection and analysis. Incident command posts like we're proposing would be set up with teams isolated from one another. Food is boxed food or canned food initially, and day by day there'd be changes with a mix of materials distributed to the homebound. The operation would shift daily as data is collected and analyzed to where the priorities need to be shifted. Right now, there are small efforts all over that are doing their best. In this concept of operations, we would bring in representatives from Instacart, DoorDash, local supermarkets, etc., and coordinate them under local health officials and localities to identify where to put the limited resources to move into reach day by day. He estimates that 10 sites, like the organization he did in Katrina, would serve 1 million plus homebound. There's nothing easy about this, Scott told me. It's very, very difficult, but it's proactive. You have to be able to act, adapt, and be flexible. Ideally, a beta test in a city of 100,000 in Southwest Florida, which is our home base, working under a local command would be set up very quickly. We could see it in just a couple of days. If all we have to fight with is our time and social media, well, let's put out this SOS and save our seniors by asking the government to use its resources and talk to the team with a real plan. Unfortunately, the governor of Florida, who normally would enact one of disaster solutions plans like this in a heartbeat, was told by the president not to, because it countermanded his script of how the COVID-19 crisis was unfolding at that time. And because the beta test was never done in Florida, where it would normally launch the idea to other states as an example, it never went into effect. And all of those seniors, like my mom, didn't have resources. Right now, we have a really interesting system. I called her city, talked to the mayor's assistant, talked to senior services. They found volunteers and Boy Scouts. And we have a system now where it's like a kind of rolling thing, where one lady will go shopping for her once a week if she can. If she can't do it, the Boy Scouts do it. If they can't do it, I constantly once a week put in an order for 1 or 2 items for her in bulk, so that even though it may take 2 or 3 weeks for like protein shakes to get to her, or protein bars, or anything she needs, it's taken so long at this point that orders I put in for her a month ago or 2 months ago are finally coming and filling those gaps. So finally my mom has food every day and caretakers every day, and we've created this system. long distance to take care of her. But I think that we still need to take a look at disaster solutions and see if there's a way that we can do these public-private partnerships, because it's hurricane season, which means they're going to need these guys out there again. They're going to need to coordinate everybody again before you know it. We're all going to be doing food drives. So I will drop the link in the comments, and I hope that you guys will do your thing. Send it to your governor, whether it's Virginia's or whatever state you're watching from. Hey, Walt. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Jordan. Hey, Peggy. It's good to see you all. And I will see you all again tomorrow night.